Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm Terri Burmeister, CEO and President of Catapult Systems, and we're excited to have you join our team today. We've pulled together an amazing event filled with 16 different sessions across the next 2 days that are going to help you walk through the basics of adapting and driving a data-driven culture, where you can learn how to protect your data, surface information in a compelling dashboard style, as well as using the advanced technologies to gain insight that will help your business thrive. As many of you know, data has become an increasing vital part of our business culture. In fact, Gartner states that by 2022, 90% of all corporate strategies will list information as a critical enterprise asset, and analytics is an essential competency. To help us kick off the summit, I'm extremely excited to introduce Microsoft's Erwin Visser. Erwin has been with Microsoft for nearly 16 years, serving in a variety of leadership roles, working with customers and partners in the mid-market, enterprise, and public sector space. I first met Erwin when he was in a senior director role for the Azure Partner Channel. In that role, he led the Azure Intelligent Cloud partnering strategy, developing and activating a world-class partner channel, helping customers and partners in their own personal digital transformation. In June of last year, Erwin stepped into a new role as General Manager of U.S. Partner Group, leading the strategy across Microsoft's 3 clouds, Azure, M365, and D365. Through these roles, Erwin has had an opportunity to see customers and partners transform their business through the use of data. I can't wait to hear what Erwin has to share with us over the next few part of the kickoff. So if I may, I'd like to turn it over to Erwin and let him share his vision and his story and what he has seen through the data transformation across multiple customers. Erwin, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Terri. Very excited to be here. And I think I'm going to be, am I live? Am I live? Yes, I'm live. So thanks, Terri. Very excited to be here. It's my pleasure, certainly after this warm welcome, to talk a little bit more about how we think what's happening in the marketplace at this moment, what we see, how we see customers react on the continuous change, and specifically we want to talk a little bit more about what it takes to build a data-driven organization. A data-driven organization that really delivers and builds data services and helps that data to make data-driven decisions and gives insights to all their employees. So I have a lot of things to share, I believe, in the next 25-30 minutes. So let me just jump in. So first of all, we all got very used to living in a digital world, and the digital era is here. It's kind of like inevitable now that everything has started to become digitalized. And if you look at the marketplace and how this impacts industries, you can see it all over. Automotive market is transforming fastly into driving computers with a typical car having more than 1,000 of sensors. Retailers are investing in omni-channels and digital services. Financial institutes are going fully digital as new generations are really used to doing their banking from their smartphone. And manufacturing organizations are heavily investing in this moment in digital twins, integrated supply chain, and to deliver improved services, but also be able to segment their customers to smaller groups of customers and even into segments of one. And if you think about it, we got used to this so fast. I'm not even surprised anymore if I on Sunday morning want to FaceTime my mom who lives in Amsterdam, or if you want to order food from your iPhone or from an app or a car, or if you order a product online and you are able to track almost on an hourly basis where that product is in the delivery to your house. So one of the interesting things about this is that because we got used so fast to it that we sometimes overestimate how long these technologies are in place. And one fun question, if you are any time close to a teenager, one fun question is to ask, when do you think the first iPhone was released? And I've tried that question with my teenagers. You know, they will say 80s, maybe 90s, and they don't realize that that technology, the first iPhone came out in 2007. And so in these 13, 14 years, such a lot of things, a lot of innovation did take place. And how we think about it is that every company is becoming a software company. But whatever industry you are, whatever market you are, if you want to continuously compete in this new economy, in this new world, it is going to be important for you to think about your organization and your company, not just as a company that delivers products or services, but also how are you using technology and software and services to support your products and support your services. So how we as Microsoft think about this new world is kind of in and we call it the world of intelligent cloud and intelligent edge. It's that we believe that the cloud technology is like a very important driver of this innovation, and it's a place where IT is going to be democratized. So because it will be available for all companies, all individuals. And building and delivering also a level of intelligence that was probably not possible in the past, or was not possible in the past in private data centers. But what's also important here is the intelligent edge. Is that the continuous innovation in sensor technology, in intelligence, on devices and product and technology that we use all on a daily basis and got used to on a daily basis. And it's kind of the world of ubiquitous computing. Computing that is taking place continuously between the sensors and the devices and the intelligence in the edge, and on the other hand, the artificial intelligence and the data and the raw computing power that the cloud delivers. And if you think like, hey, how important is that intelligent edge? And the question I always ask people is like, would you ever step into a self-driving car if you knew that all the intelligence was in the cloud? Most people answer that question with no. So that's why it's going to be a mix. Intelligence is going to sit in the edge, and intelligence is going to sit also in the cloud. What we believe is that one of the drivers, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what are the drivers of this level of change that we see and transformation in the market. But one of the drivers we see is the unit cost of components that has exponentially gone down in the last years. And this is enabling products and enabling services that were just not thinkable, say 10, 15, 20 years ago. I just mentioned that a car now has more than 1,000 sensors. And if you have a self-driving car, like it's even more than 2,000 sensors. So in 2005 or in 2000s, these cars would not been able to be affordable. And you see on this slide is that the typical cost of a sensor is now in 2021 0.3% of the same sensor in 2007. And so significantly price drop. So these products are now affordable and can be produced in mass. Another great example is that industrial robots went down from $500,000 like even 10, 15 years ago to now $10,000. You can buy a smartphone at this moment by manufacturers in China for $10. And arguably the most impressive one was that when the first DNA got sequenced in 2000, the cost of computing was $2.7 billion. $2.7 billion to sequence one DNA of one person. Currently, you can do it below $1,000. You can even see now advertisements on TV for that to sequence your DNA to understand further for potentially a risk that you have in your life. So it's that level of transformation is clearly unprecedented. The other area that we see, and they are connected. What's another part of the fuel that drives this transformation are, we believe, data, analytics, and cloud. And just to quickly hit them all three. First of all, is that we tend to generate more and more data, and by 2025. we believe that we as mankind on this planet are going to generate around 175 zettabytes on a yearly basis, driven by IoT, driven by data. And for people that want to know, 1 zettabyte is a billion terabytes. So 175 zettabytes is 175 billion terabytes on a yearly basis. So to give you a little bit perspective of how much data a zettabyte is, had we probably a bit of a nerdy engineer at Microsoft, he did an analysis, and he realized that if we would record every word, every sentence a human spoke in the history of mankind, then it would require 42 zettabytes to store. So for 42 zettabytes, you can record any conversation any human had in the history of mankind. And some of these teenagers talk a lot, so go figure how much data that is. So, but it's not just the data, it's also making the data available for analytics. And analytics is one of the fastest growing workloads on Azure at this moment. And we believe it's going to be a $274 billion market around 2023. And it's not just the ability to analyze the data, but I think, and we will kind of talk about it a little bit more, it's also the opportunity to create insights out of it and to make these insights available across your organization. And you will see, and I'm sure that on the next 2 days in this event of Catapult, we'll talk more about it, is that the tools are becoming more and more friendly. So doing analytics on data is not just the work of an IT person anymore. It can now be done by any business professional. And the last big trend here, of course, is cloud. Cloud will create a huge shift in the next years. It says $1.3 trillion of spending in 2022. And according to IDC, and it's not on the slide, in 2025, more than 60% of all computing will be in the cloud. And the interesting thing about cloud is not just the raw power that cloud delivers and the opportunities to do certain workloads that would never been able in any private data center in the past, but it democratizes enterprise IT. Arguably, and we're not there yet, but I'm pretty convinced we'll get there, is that in the future an SMB customer in Africa will have the same access to enterprise IT than an enterprise in the US. And where these IT systems in the past were only available for a few, they will technically be available for everyone in the future. And so this clearly gives like a next level of competition, but also a next level of opportunity for everybody. So we had clearly these are big trends, and if this was not enough, we all got hit last year with something else, COVID-19. And since February, March, and arguably the months before, this thing started to transform the US market, but also the worldwide market, even at a higher scale. And while this was absolutely a personal tragedy for a lot of people, it clearly also hit a lot of businesses hard, and further driving this concept of change. And if you think about it and take a step back, we think we started to get into the new normal. And our mindset over the last 30, 40 years was that there were like discrete moments of change. We had the PC in the 70s or the 80s. We had the internet in the 90s, and we had the smartphones in the 21st century that created like this discrete moments of transformation. We started to believe that this is just going to go. It's not going to be discrete, but it's going to be continuous. And I'm reading this book 2030, interesting about what's going to happen around in the next 10 years. But had a couple of, if you just look at the demographic changes that we will see in the world, in 10 years there will be more grandparents than there will be grandchildren. In 10 years, the global economy will be more driven. The middle class in Asia and Africa will be bigger than the middle class in Western Europe and in the US. And there will be more wealth with women than with men. And last but not least, there will be more computers than human brains on the world. So it is that the level of change that we see is just going to be not discrete, but it's just going to be continuous going forward. So what's the business case here? What to do? And first of all, clearly we see that the Fortune 500 companies is more volatile than ever. 52% of the companies in the Fortune 500 since 2000 are gone, and we don't believe that level of pace is going to change. But that also creates opportunity. And the World Economic Forum predicted that there is $100 billion or $100 trillion of opportunity for society and companies in the next 10 years in new markets, new opportunities based on all that transformation that we see in the marketplace. So the question for you, for everybody on the call here, is like, where are you going to steer your company? And where do you want to go from here? What's the direction you want to take your business? What's or your services, your products, to really leverage this new world? So the model that we developed a few years ago, and we did this work together as Microsoft with McKinsey and Harvard, is that we kind of built this idea about digital transformation and 4 specific outcomes that you can drive as a company, as an organization, to really be successful. And it's kind of like a little bit of a framework to take a big problem and kind of slice it in 4. And so if you think about the business outcomes, where we believe you have to think about any organization, and Microsoft thinks about those on a daily basis, is that how do you empower your employees? How you make sure that your employees have the tools, the tools to work anywhere, any place, which is more timely than ever, clearly, the last year, but also can be productive, can work in teams, can make decisions fast, have insights. So how do you really make sure that you enable your employees to be productive from anywhere, and also as an individual and as a team? And the second one is, how do you engage your customers? How do you create like a 360-degree view of your customer segments, your customers, their needs, their requirements, and how can you use technology to develop better relationships with your customers, predict their next behavior, predict their next wish, maybe create segments of one for specific products, so you can really target and align what you want to achieve here. The third business outcome would be optimized operations. And this is around taking cost out and become more agile, and become predictive in your supply chain. Understand how you can optimize, understand how you can go faster, agile, make changes faster based on what happened in the marketplace, and really optimize that process in your organization. And the last one, and last I would say, but not least, is transform your products, develop new services, develop new products, and think about how you can utilize data to implement new ideas and to build things that you maybe were not able to build in the past. And there are like massive examples here of organizations that are starting to use data and IT to build, just to transform their organization. So in the middle of this is this idea about data intelligence. The idea is that as an organization, you start using those 4 business outcomes and start creating that digital feedback loop, where you start to understand how these things are coming together, and also can start making decisions across the 4 business outcomes. And this is about, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it, this is about building a data culture, where you start as an organization to connect and for a lot of organizations, including Microsoft, we have islands of data, and they're not always connected. But how can you start that process where you use what you hear from the customers to help build your next best product, or to enable your employees to really look into your operations so they can listen to their customers faster and maybe react on requests that they have? So this kind of idea of a digital feedback loop with data in the center of it. So we're going to talk a little bit more now about the steps and the thought process on making data a strategic asset to support you and to help you grow and accelerate your business in this new world. So the first thing to kind of line out here, and if you have an opportunity to read it, there was a Harvard Business Review article that shows that it's not just to improve or to take cost out, but companies that create a data-driven culture have the experience of 4 times improvement in revenue performance and better customer satisfaction. Data is kind of the core to really help those outcomes that we discussed as being important for digital transformation. So how do you get there? So we think there's 2 important aspects of creating a data-driven transformation and building a data-driven culture as an organization. And the first one it's a cultural one. It's that to create a data culture, you have to require new and disruptive thinking. You have to build a culture in your organization that decisions, analysis, any new direction, any new investment, that there's a data-driven aspect of that direction. It's core to decision making, core to product services development. And for some organizations that will be a cultural change in how they think about the business that sometimes starts with the top. But secondly, also is, you need to build the data capabilities. You need, as an organization, is that you need to invest in the data technology and platform to really enable that data culture. They go side by side. If you have the technology, but not the culture, you invest in a lot of money in technology that is not used. So that's not the right direction, clearly. But at the same time, if you have a data culture, but you miss the tools, then you probably are going to be like in a little bit in a dilemma there too. So the both almost need to go side by side to be really effective. So for the data capabilities for a data-driven culture, we believe there are 3 to really look at, and they go kind of this kind of aligned or sequence, I would almost say. And the first one is data modernization, and this is built a data platform that supports the integration of data sources, and in a secure way, of course, supporting privacy, being high performance, and make sure that the data is integrated and connected. And for a lot of organizations, that means that they have to modernize their data estate, and that the current data that they have, their apps or the data that they have, the databases that they have currently, could not be sufficient. It could mean that some of the data needs to move into the cloud. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but hey, some of this can start on-prem. So it's going to be like a hybrid strategy here. But after you modernize your data, the second step, I should say, is going to be analytics and insights. The data is nothing without the tools to analyze the data. And so building the analytics platform, the tools, maybe investing in tools that give access to the data and to analysis across the organization with ease of use. And these are very important elements of really empowering your organization and democratizing insights across the organization. And last but not least is that, hey, analytics is not always sufficient. Sometimes you have to go really deep. And that is where data science comes in. You have to enable maybe people in your organization to take a slice of that data and really use data science tool, AI tools to take it to the next level, and to come up with analysis that are could be predictable for customer wishes, maybe a next logical workload, or not anything that goes to the next level of insight. So Microsoft, we if you consider Microsoft in your data transition and building a data-driven organization, we believe that we have a technology that can really help you, and products that support this journey. And it starts with SQL Server and Cosmos DB. SQL Server and SQL DB are our SQL Server relational databases, both on-prem as well as in Azure, clearly. And Cosmos DB is our multimodal new SQL database that really scales into next levels. And these can build a great modernized data estate. But then also we have tools to support analytics. Synapse is something that we released in the last year, an analytics platform that brings together data integration, enterprise data warehousing, and big data analytics. And it gives the freedom to query data on your terms. And you can do it serverless, or you can use dedicated resources to do it. And last but not least, Power BI as an end user tool to really give anybody in your organization insights or the opportunity to analyze their data that is important for their job or their role to make better decisions. And third here is Databricks. And Databricks, we're excited about that because it enables your data science organization or maybe a partner that you bring in to do data science for you. And it kind of takes advantage of the data and AI platform, but enables what we talked about, the next level of analytics in your organization. So what is the next steps on your journey? What would be next for you to help you go into this direction? And there's a couple of things I'd like to share here. And the first one is we believe that you cannot expect any organization to just flip the switch and be in the cloud. That's some organizations, born in the cloud companies, can do that. Maybe in specific edge cases we will see it. But in a lot of situations, companies will take a hybrid approach. They will start moving some of their data workloads and data platforms to the cloud, but there will sometimes apps are not able to move quickly, or there is a transition time. And so a hybrid strategy is very important. And things that we can deliver here is that the support with Azure to our customers is that we can deliver hybrid access and one access across your data estate in the cloud and on-prem, hybrid management of data sources, security across on-prem and cloud. And last but not least, we released a new technology last year. It's called Azure Arc, where we even enable to manage to help our customers manage apps and workloads, not just across Azure and on-prem, but even across other clouds. And so to really support a hybrid strategy for our customers on-prem, in Azure, and potentially even in other clouds to enable them to do that transition in their own space. When you haven't started your cloud journey yet, and you're thinking about it and you're planning it, there's a couple of things to take in your mind. At first is that we kind of when we talk to customers and we look at successful migrations, the typical rhythm that we see is that most customers start with an assessment. An assessment to understand what do they have in their organization, what are the data bases, what are the applications, what are the server workloads that they run, and based on that assessment, they define a priority set to migrate. Then they innovate, they optimize, and they go back to assessment. So it's kind of that cycle. Assess your situation, decide to migrate or innovate a priority set, optimize it in the cloud, and then go back to the assessment. To do this in the right way, it's important that you develop a business case that is supported by your leadership team, but you also need to make sure that you hire or use a partner or build the developer IT skilling in your organization. And technology skills are important in this journey. And so we always encourage customers to have a plan for both. Like, what is the business case that you can have with the leadership of the company to make sure that everybody is behind this transition, but then also make sure that you have a plan to get skilling in place to do this in a great way. When you go to a journey in the cloud, we kind of always think about it. There's three journeys. You can move your on-premise workloads into infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, which is kind of the lift and shift approach. You can start doing the first level of innovation by going serverless, use containers to create more performance and more flexibility than VMs typically have. And build your applications into a PaaS platform, a platform as a service. And you can also take the next step, is completely build new applications from scratch in low code or no code application platform. So those are kind of the things to consider when you start that journey. So where to start then? And I kind of said it already, is that we believe the first step is to assess your IT infrastructure and evaluate your data estates, your data warehouses, your applications, and build a plan. And then, especially when we talk about your journey to a data-driven organization, what we see works very well is define a small set of use cases to start for analytics. And so think about, from a business perspective, what are the things that are the most critical for you to get more insight in, to run your business, to make decisions, or maybe to build new products or new services. And aim for these quick wins. Because you cannot just flip the switch in an organization and say, hey, we go from A to B. And so it is a journey. And so if you get these quick wins, then people start to mushroom in the organization. People start to understand the impact, get excited about it, and you will see usage going up across your organization. And last but not least is we advise that if you don't have the skills in-house, or you want to learn from people that already have done it, we always encourage our customers to engage a qualified partner like Catapult. They have offers in place. They have the knowledge and the experience with other customers that they can help you do this level of transformation and maybe not make the mistakes that other people have made in the past, and get some learnings from things that work with people that have the experience. And just to show you that you're not going to be the first one here in the world. We have a lot of customer cases clearly around analytics, but this one I just wanted to highlight quickly because it's probably a very applicable one for the people in this call. And this was a case that Catapult did with the governors of North Dakota. They had, and this is not typically for state government. They have a lot of different agencies. All these agencies had homegrown databases. And that worked for them, but the moment where you want to take the state services to the next level, and you want to start thinking about what is the 36-degree view on my citizens and the people that live in my state. And this is a project that Catapult did, where they helped to create like a data state that was highly verticalized into a data state where you really can start understanding what's going on in the state, enable better services, become much more agile, also create some predictiveness into your data analytics. So this has been a great opportunity for the North Dakota state to help improve their citizen services. So I'm starting to at the end of my quick presentation here. And so the one thing I want to outline here is that I had the opportunity at Microsoft, and Terri talked about that. Before I started, I moved into the US. I run industry marketing at Microsoft and enterprise marketing at the worldwide level. I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of customers. And one thing that came out is that digital transformation is a unique journey. It's not one size fits all. It's not just one thing that is applicable to every account or every customer. This is something that there are best practices, there are blueprints that I would look at, there are outcomes that you can use as a framework. But hey, this is something that has to be customized to your organization, your industry, your strategy, your people, and so I think it's a unique journey for any company. And again, we believe that data is a huge aspect of this. We think that's for a lot of companies a starting point. And I really wish you very good luck with your companies, your businesses in this kind of rapid changing marketplace. So thank you very much for staying with me for the last 25. Let me look at the clock. 25 to 30 minutes. You see my email address on the slide if you have any questions or any feedback. And I think I'm going to give it back to Terri now, and we may have the opportunity for 1 or 2 questions. Is that correct, Terri?
That is correct. Hey, thanks, Erwin. This was amazing. And yes, you are correct. If there are any questions, we'd be happy to funnel them through. And as Erwin had mentioned, we also have, we will be providing the content. We've got access to his email, as well as we will be providing the presentation to everyone that was in attendance. So we'll do a quick look to see if any questions have come in. But in the meantime, while I'm checking, first and foremost, I just wanted to say, Erwin, I'm showing my age. I do remember the early stages of the cell phones, and I was one of those that was carrying those bag phones back in the day. But when you think of just the growth that we've seen in the transformation in our industry, it's been phenomenal. With that, as Erwin mentioned, there's tremendous of opportunity, right? So when you look at those numbers of 274 billion in analytics from a global market growth, that the growth potential is there. A couple of things that hit home to me was when you look at 4 times the improvement in revenue and performance. Obviously, running an organization like Catapult and how we can help our customers, those are the items that really bubble up to the top for me. The other thing is not being afraid to look at the data culture, and we do need to look and help our customers understand, all of you on the line, if your business or technology, that it is a disruptor out there, and how can we help that journey or guide you through that. And then the data capabilities, building that team within your organization is critical, or looking outside for that support, I think, is important as well. From a logistics standpoint, as we bring this session to a close, I do have some reminders. I'm going to do a quick look to see if we have any questions. It doesn't look like we have questions right now, but that's pretty common in a group this size. So a few things as we bring this particular session to close, and we kind of tee it up for the remainder of today and tomorrow. All of you should have received a link on your calendar that highlights we tried to make it easy for everyone, where there's one link that you can join for the meeting, for the sessions, and be in that link all day long. You can drop in and out depending on your schedules. Hopefully you can attend as many sessions as possible. There will be a Q&A session at the end of each session. So feel free to drop questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them, or the presenters are leaving time at the end of each session to communicate and have an open dialogue with everyone. Tomorrow, we're going to kick off with a roundtable, which will be very interactive, and we're including several people that are going to be talking about their own experience and how they've created that data culture within their organization. So I think that will be a great way to start the day tomorrow. And then at the end of the sessions, we'll be running at the end of tomorrow's session, there's going to be 2 paths that you can go down, because we've noticed, as Erwin mentioned, there's the business side and then there's the technology side, right? We've got paths for both. So feel free to attend as many of the classes that you can that pertain to either what you're dealing with within your organization, or if there's interest that you have out there regarding what's going on in the market. So from an itinerary standpoint, we've got both technical path and a business path tomorrow. So I hope you find this event to be helpful today. We're excited to see the participation over the next 2 days. And with that, we'll close this session to a wrap. I hope you all enjoy and look forward to connecting with you all later in the day. Have a great day. And thanks, Erwin.
Thank you.